10, 15 years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him. And 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
The Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability. RTD Live Talk, Monday night, the 5th day of the month of November. We're live and looking forward to finding out what's on your mind and what how's your weekend and things of that nature. So as always, we're here. Let's get this party started. And so as always, my name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. And tonight I was on the fence as to whether or not I was going to actually make it and do a live stream, just because the boy is tired for whatever reason. Has something to do with that clock, going back down on back that clock or something like that, I guess. But anyway, what is going on, people? Any new viewers, feel free to let us know where you're watching us from in the chat right here, as well as that number above my head, 1-833-LIVE-RTD. It's a number for you to call in and let us know what's happening in the RTD community. So, with that being the case, let me find out who's tuning in thus far. We got Spirit, Philman, James. I'm not going to even begin to try to pronounce that. I'm not sure if that's a name or just a nickname or what. But it says, troops are installing barbed wire on the southern border around major transit points. Yes, I saw some video, and I saw what looks like some barbed wire fences going up. But the type of fences they were putting up, I'm thinking, like, who exactly is that supposed to hold back? Because there was just, a couple layers of barbed wire fences like on top of each other. But I'm thinking, like, all you got to do is throw a blanket or throw some type of wood over it, and you can walk right on top of that. So not quite sure what's up with that. But we got Dale from Minneapolis. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to RTD community. It says, YJ is cool. YJ, I got you. Appreciate you for shortening that up for me. Scott, what's up, my friend? So yeah, so what this week was a lot of things happening. Of course, we got the whole political scene happening right now. Of course, if you've been watching TV or paying attention to any type of news outlets, it's a flat out race to the finish of who's going to control for the most part the House and the Senate, you name it. So a lot of commercials are bashing everybody. Everyone's talking about each other. Everyone's pointing a finger at this and that, and oh man, it's crazy out here right now. But we'll see how it all pans out, man. So I hear a lot of people mentioning that if the Democrats, I think Democrats win, if they win the House, say goodbye to the current shakeup that's been underway in D.C. with everything that Trump has been doing in front and behind the scenes, because they're going to really look to impeach him. And then other points is that, another point that I actually thought about was, if Trump actually, or not Trump, but if actually it is a red sweep across the country and the Republicans seem to control majority of everything they need to get these military tribunals going, that's something that I am interested in seeing, because I think it was on SGT report today or yesterday with David Hanna in reference to the idea of during the committee hearing of Supreme Court nominee, now Supreme Court Kavanaugh, the whole spiel about the military tribunals. Like, why was that brought up in the middle of it wasn't a hearing, but in the middle of the hearing process for the Supreme Court position? Why would they bring up military tribunals as if unless there was something that they were planning on unleashing? And so, of course, if you follow alternative media, you hear about those sealed indictments. There's thousands upon thousands. And so looking forward to hopefully some of that stuff coming to the light and shining some light as to what's happening, what has been happening in D.C. and who's been on the other side of the fence and portrayed our nation. So, but we'll see, man. But other than that, what else is going on out here? says if the Democrats take back over the House, you know it's time for impeachment. Right, and that's the thing. I read that as well, and so there's several things going on with that. So I'm thinking like they're still preaching impeachment, and of course the Democratic Party will do their best to paint a good picture as to why he should be impeached. I personally, I'm curious as to what is such apart from just him being who he is as a person, the fact that he's not a political figure, he's not a part of the establishment or the regime that's a lifelong politician. He's appears to be from the outside, shaking up, causing problems, speaking his mind, doing things completely unpresidential according to prior standards. But is that necessarily a bad thing, given the fact that, in my opinion, every president, for the most part, ever since the Federal Reserve was installed, has all been a paid for puppet in a sense. So here you have someone that's talking bad about the Fed and blaming the Fed, pointing stuff to the Fed. That's, in my opinion, that's truth. So how is that bad? But it goes against the grain, and so impeachment is something they're going to preach. So we'll see how that goes. It says, oh, Mike, it's embarrassing. These guys are sending me text messages slinging mud. I'm horrified. Really? So in your city or in your state, a part of the campaign trail situation, you're getting text messages about, who to vote for, what proposal to vote for, whatnot. That's pretty deep. They sending you text messages. I'll be pissed if my phone was going off with some text messages for some candidates that I have no interest in, or candidates I was interested in. Like, don't text me, man. Don't text my phone. That's a violation of privacy and everything, secrecy, and that's crossing the line in my opinion. It says the blue wave in regards to this election will affect the stock market very negatively in the short term. AYJ, blue wave or red wave was going to cause problems with the stock market, just because I think the stock market fluctuations has more to do with the central banking and the financial establishment that's that runs our global economy. I think they're more so trying to prove a point to the president in reference to Mr. President, you're talking too much, you're overstepping your boundaries. We can show you what we mean by stay in your place. Hence the idea of just withdrawing a large amount of capital, or just shorting the markets, or causing whatever it is that makes it drop several hundred points in a day. So I don't even know how all that stuff operates to the T, other than the fact that it's all manipulated, it's controlled by a small few, hence the sharp drops. So with that being the case, I think it's more so a point to prove to the president that if he don't dial back some of that rhetoric and pointing at the Fed, because the more he mentions the Fed, the more he points the blame at them raising rates and hinting at the fact that it's not fair, they're being political. Hence the fact that they gave Obama 10 years of basically negative rates, which made his presidency look that much better because everyone was able to borrow and to go into debt further at a cheap cost. Now, under his watch, they're going to try to raise it, a quarter point every quarter they can, in the hopes of stabilizing it in the midst of quantitative unwinding, or quantitative what's it called, quantitative tightening. So it's all going to come back to make him look. He's going to be a scapegoat for this whole market situation, regardless whether it's red or blue, in my opinion, because there's no way of avoiding it. It says appears to be from the outside. Keyword is appears. Yeah, we'll see. Honorably Johnny Deep in the house. Johnny Deep, what's up, my friend? How you doing? So tonight's conversation is sweet and simple. What's on your mind? Let's talk about a variety of subject matters. Let's just try to cover a couple different angles, more so to just inform people, as well as to just bounce ideas off one another. And so someone mentioned in the earlier part of the chat about this week coming up sometime, there's a small portion of the caravan that's in Mexico making their way up towards the border, and we're going to find out the response of the military, as to whether or not they peacefully sit by and politely escort those caravan migrants back further down south, or if the migrants stand ground and say we're not moving nowhere, and they start throwing rocks or something worse, and there's a response. So the big question is, how will they respond if they are under attack from a knucklehead in the crowd? So we will see. It says next interest rate hike will be first week of December. Something has to give. Yeah. So here's a question. And I mean, it appears to be somewhat of a, not saying necessarily a fact, but it appears to be a conscious decision by the central banking authority of the current reserve currency of the world that they're going to hike in preparation for the need to make a sharp drop in this next market downturn like they typically have before. But I've come across more and more articles that mention how, we're currently we're in extremely uncharted waters because never before has interest rates been this low for this long, and then there being such a rush to hike them, and it leaves very little wiggle room for the next market situation that will need to be dealt with in reference to the way it has been done before. So basically, the next way of dealing with this next market correction, hiccup, or whatever it is in the economy, the steps they used to take won't work because we're already at 2%, 2.25, whatever that is. So if the normal drop is 3, 4, 5% or something like that, where do you go? Negative? Or what do you throw out some type of new quantitative easing and some UBI? So what are going to be some of the tools in the monetary tool bag? And I think we're going to be shocked to see what they're going to do. And inevitably, whatever it is going to impact inflation big time. And so actually, I came across an article today on inflation and some of the places and some of the things that is most notable by you and I, and has to do in the retail sector with fast food and whatnot. And so I actually pulled that up briefly because I won't be able to actually read the full article, but it has to do with in Q3, which is just came to an end not long ago in the U.S., looking at some of the price hikes in major food chains is noticeable. And I personally, I don't eat out like that much. So, I never really paid attention to it. But I'm sure those that, choose to eat out, may have noticed a slight increase in your bill. And that's not by coincidence. And a lot of the people are blaming these tariffs and how it's becoming more expensive for everything that they receive in the form of the necessities like cups, plates, and forks and spoons and all the stuff that comes as part of the restaurant industry from, across those waters is now more expensive. And then some of the ingredients for the food is more expensive. So cost in general is going up on everybody. And it's just going to be transferred to you and I in the form of a tax or a price increase. And so the question will be, will you make adjustments or will you continue to, shop and do what you do, spend a little bit more money? That's going to be a major question because what tend to happen, people usually choose to just dial back or just change instead of getting, I think part of the index, CPI index is that, people don't buy steak, they'll buy just hamburger. If they don't buy hamburger, they'll buy chicken. So you'll just find some alternative to substitute your food with. So we will see. But I'm trying to find that article real quick because it's quite interesting. And let me find it here. Oh, wrong one. And then other than that, I'm interested in finding out your thoughts on, the whole fast food situation. Let me pull this up. Whenever it's ready. Read the full article. Where we at? Well, I'm having a hard time. Let me go back here. So, while I look for this, feel free to talk amongst yourselves in the chat. Where's it at? It's a very interesting article. That's why I wanted to pull it up. Because I can see a lot of things in there that definitely impacts people's pockets. Then we got student loan situations. Well, I'm kind of ticked because I don't see it. So it looks like we might have to move on without it. It was a good article, people. If I find it, if it comes back up, I'll look into it. So apologize for that. Should have been prepared. But I wasn't planning on going there, but it happened anyway. Who else we got to go on? It says, good evening. We got there. Shane, what's up, my friend? He says, Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. Brazil next door just elected a fascist who the Trump administration likes. Hey, Mike, good night from Newark. What's up, my friend? Lennox. It says, the most fruits and veggies are grown in Central Cali. Unfortunately, farms can't find employees. Should we increase the Social Security age to 89? Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know how that wouldn't set in too well with the current baby boomers that's on the fence of trying to figure out if they're going to retire at 62, 63 or wait till 65 to get the full payout of their Social Security payment. Is Mike bald or does he shave? I shave and I'm bald or balding. Spirit, I'm not sure what they got to do with anything. Says, have you heard of the new gold-backed golden dollar they started using in Zimbabwe? I have not heard about the gold-backed golden dollar. I actually have a person who I've been speaking with in Zimbabwe because right now they're going through some situations. So I'm going to have him on the show because he's from the U.S., but he has a business in Zimbabwe, and he keeps me up to date on what's happening there. So definitely going to have him on one of these days to share some stuff happening on the ground there. So I see an article here that says gold reserves to back currency, but this was last year. And I want to say that since they have this new president there, they're not talking about backing no gold, no bond notes with gold. So if you don't mind, share with me an article, something more recent, so I can touch on that, because I definitely, would like to see that. But once again, whenever you mention the word, whenever you have a smaller country that is not really a major player on the international scene, would be willing to say that, that's all hype on backing their currency with gold, because that right there is not a part of the international game plan. You can't have a small country such as Zimbabwe that's, agriculturally rich and natural resources, all that stuff like that, but they're a puppet nation. They're just a former colony of Great Britain. So they're just, it's all a show in those type of countries. So for a president to really talk about coming out back in the currency with gold, he ain't gonna be in power long. Or what always happens, there's gonna be an uprising in the city, a paid for event by some other nation is going to try to get them up out of there. So I wouldn't bank on that 100%. But I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure they're talking about it. It says August 15, 1971 forward, it's all inflation. Yeah, man. And that's the thing. I posted if you guys didn't see it in the community page, I posted a visual aid / just a weight scale, and I mentioned that right now, especially not only because of the golden opportunity that is available for you guys through the channel, and so this offer right here is that I'm noticing more and more countries and nations and stuff like that. So here's an article I posted today on the RTD page about Venezuela. And so here we have Venezuela. I read something just recently. They have the government, or Maduro's looking to, where we at? Maduro's looking to back he's looking to back or to help fund their savings program there by allocating some 40,000 barrels of oil and petros, as well as some tonnage of gold as an initial installment to their national savings program there. And then here is an article I came across today from Reuters, and I posted it here. It says Venezuela seeks to repatriate 550 million of gold from Britain. And so it goes into some details as to why they're needing their gold back and why they're looking to get their gold back now. So they're trying to avoid any type of sanctions and all types of issues they're having with our country. And so it looks like everybody's getting their weight up these days. Everybody's literally taking possession of something physical. And I'm like, if the governments are doing it, if nations are doing it, if central banks are doing it, come on, people, what are we doing? Of course, we got, a lot of other exciting opportunities in the form of digital, instruments that, is getting our attention. But at the very minimum, the whole idea of rethinking the dollar is to understand what a dollar is. And a dollar is technically silver, but yet, you know, with this opportunity here, you know, I would encourage people, as I always will for the next couple of weeks, that I'm working with SD Bullion, is to make sure you get your weight up in the form of taking the time to drop a 50 piece and get a gram. You know, just get a gram and set it aside. A gram, it's going to do you more good than a paper will down the line. So that's just, you know, my little 2 cents right there for whatever it's worth. Make sure you get your weight up, get yourself a gram at a minimum. And I'm thinking, like, for myself, you know, of course, I enjoy having a small piece of a gram, and so I've been messing with, you know, grams for a while, so I enjoy my grams just because they're small and they're just, you know, little cute little bitty yellow pieces of things. But I'm thinking, like, you know, between now and the end of the year, I might just, you know, do a gram a week, just do something silly, just because at less than $50 right now, I'm like, man, it ain't gonna get much cheaper than that right now. And I know that 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, paper-wise, it's gonna be a lot more expensive. So I'm thinking, like, man, I need to probably double down. That's just me, because it's so cheap to me. But anyway, that's my point. I'm gonna get off that. What else we got going on here in the chat I'm missing? It says it was inflation. It says, question: do you think Social Security should be raised to your burial day? Raised to your burial day. Ray, I'm not sure. Philman, what exactly does that mean? Raised to your burial day. As far as the amount or what? Fill me in on that one. I'm not 100% on that one. I don't understand that one. It says Edward says, just join. What's up, my friend? What are your thoughts on the Fed playing their part in crashing the system by continuing to raise rates and continuing quantitative easing, or stopping quantitative, and so you mean quantitative tightening? That's the new term. And so, as I mentioned prior to, I guess, you joining on, was the idea that it's a part of the plan, and so it's all a matter of, you know, what other tricks do they have in their monetary toolkit. And so we're already a part of history, you and I, and the fact that we've lived through TARP, QE1, 2, 3. What else has been done out there? You know, there's certain central banks that's purchasing equities directly, such as Switzerland owns a good portion of Apple and the New York Stock Exchange in general. Then we got Japan, and so we're a part of a monetary experiment now that is coming towards an end. And so the question is, will the central banking powers that be let it go and let just the truth be revealed, or will they come up with a whole nother gimmick and scheme for us? Hence the idea of cryptocurrencies being introduced at the right time. And I always got some thoughts on that I want to share with you on that whole idea, because it dawned on me that the whole, you know, Economist cover, 1987, 88, whatever it was, about, you know, the new reserve currency coming out this year. And I'm thinking, like, with as much information that's been shared about the adoption and the introduction of the blockchain cryptocurrency as an official asset class, that to me positions the cryptocurrency sector, which is now officially an asset class, as a currency for some, because of the younger population, those that are, you know, pro crypto, those are anti-establishment, anti-government, those are people who are using and want to adopt certain coins as currency amongst one another for commerce wise. So that is a form of currency that is being adopted by choice. People are choosing to get on board this crypto train because of the idea of one day it might, you know, be $1 million a Bitcoin or whatever it might be. But it looks like it was positioned right now at this point in time to be on time for everything that's unraveling around us. Hence the idea that as of next week, we got the New York Stock Exchange, ICE, you know, and their conglomerates and partnerships with Microsoft, Starbucks, all that stuff, the BACT program coming on board. And that right there makes it official, because we have the actual entity, the International Continental whatever exchange, that does all of the equities, that's in charge of, you know, several dozen stock exchanges around this planet. They're officially getting involved in a way that you can actually redeem it physically. So to me, that sounds like a currency type of order that's being established. idea of the economist cover coming true right now with this back program and every Fidelity asset management, all these hedge funds, money, all these big money people coming on board. Hence the idea of a global world currency. And it's not just one coin, it's the sector, which I believe is what we're experiencing right now. So that's my 2 cents on the economist cover and how it is prophecy. It's not even prophecy because it was positioned for this time. So they positioned it for us right now, and it got us all excited, or a lot of people excited, because it's positioned to us as a way out of the old system. But when you look at who's getting in and who's going to control this system, who's going to take over this sector, I think it's right on time, people. But in the meantime, it's still going to go up nominally. So, if you speculate or whatever with it, you can still ride the wave up. But yet, I think it's going to come a point where you're going to have to make sure you get off that train before stuff crashes or corrects or whatever they choose to do with it along the way. So, but that's just me. What else I'm missing over here? It says, did you hear about JP Morgan new gold-backed crypto? So I'm hearing a lot about a gold-backed crypto. I didn't hear about that. But since we're online, let me pull this up. So let me see what pops up when I just type that in. Let me see here. Ethereum based for tokening gold bars. So, okay. Excuse me. So here's an article that pops up. And so it's from Goldscape. Not sure how valid it is. And here's another one here from JP Morgan. Here's from Cointelegraph. So I'll pop this up. This might be a little bit more of a credible source. So it says JP Morgan switches backs Bitcoin as new gold. So not directly a gold coin, but we got Mr. Jamie Dimon here. It says still chasing gold. Gold is $6 in the valuation. Bitcoin still is far short. Yeah, so not sure exactly, but it's comparing gold and stuff like that. So that's not that article. So go to this article here. It says JP Morgan to use Ethereum-based Quorum, if I'm not pronouncing that wrong, for tokenizing gold bars in pilot experiment. And this was as a couple days ago. And so I don't doubt, here's the thing, I don't doubt if the too big to fail banks are involved or funding all types of products and projects because they have money to play with. Hell, they can, through fractional reserve banking, they can come up with as many digits as they want to give to any of these projects to see what works and what doesn't work. It's not a loss to them because the system is designed for them. So I don't doubt if they're going to fund something like this, and if it does well, they'll reap the benefits. If it doesn't do too well, it won't hurt them. It just hurt the taxpayers down the line as they add up to their tab of already being too big to fail and anybody to go to jail. So there's more information here, but nothing sticks out right away. But thanks for sharing that information. I'll definitely, so it looks like they're tokenizing gold bars, however they're doing that. So definitely something, they're getting involved, put it like that. So they're no longer sitting on the sideline. They're probably going to be funding a lot of projects real soon. It says, mortgage is a scam. You pay $600,000 for a $300 home. I do agree, but the problem with the idea as of right now, because homes are unaffordable, nobody really has the type of money to pay downright for a house. So if you want to have a house, even though you don't own it, you need somewhere to stay. You need the idea of, as they say, your equity in your home. Yeah, but the house is, at the end of the day, is a liability unless it's put money in your pocket. So yeah, so that's another thing on home ownership. You really don't own your home, regardless. It says, thanks for answering. Once the system collapses, how can I slowly sell back any of my precious metals in order to cover some expenses? Why will STB buy back? Yes, STB Bullion does buy back. I'm not familiar with the process though, because I never sold anything. But Edward, my advice would be to whatever city you're in, whatever area you're in, it's always good to get connected with someone in your area that you can go and see, whether it be a coin shop, a jewelry shop, or something like that. People that you know that if you needed to exchange something or redeem something, you could go and they'll give you a good rate. So I would recommend finding something nearby where you can go in case of emergency and liquidate some things if that was the case. It says free water filters are being issued by Raz Baraka. Interesting. Never heard of that one. It says JP Morgan controls the whole thing. It's on Ethereum base, but not the one you invest in. Interesting. It says gold tokenization is only replacing papers for virtual currency. It's probably not customer faced. It will only be optimized trading. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it whatsoever. And over the weekend, I've been paying more attention to Reggie Middleton and the Veritasium project. So over this weekend out in Vegas, they had some type of crypto conference, and I watched a couple of his presentations there and just seeing more of how his software works and how he's tokenizing everything, and how it will be a great opportunity for people down the line to be able to invest through that platform and to be able to receive payouts and dividends on a variety of subject matters or topics or products, or because they can tokenize anything. So like you can buy shares into a rental property, and so it's just a lot of stuff is like, man, that's sounds very interesting. So I will keep more of an eye on that myself, because it just sounds like he's really trying to disrupt some things, which on a good note it sounds fun, but on the other note it's like, okay, you disrupt too much, you won't you won't be around much longer pumping your product, possibly, or hopefully not. But it says Gold Money and Peter Schiff joined together. Yep, Tony, that was a while back. Peter Schiff, I remember Peter Schiff for like at least 2 years just talking about, because before Gold Money, it was BitGold. So for the first year and a half or so, it was BitGold. So I had James Turk on a couple of times talking about BitGold. This is when it first came out, and I was a big fan of BitGold, but when they became Gold Money, everything changed for me to where I no longer mess with Gold Money. I just don't do it, just because I mean it's more now. It's an official banking service where they do too much, and they need to know too much information for me. So it's just like no other bank, but you can do it in gold supposedly. It says, what if everyone just stopped paying mortgages in December? There'd be a lot of foreclosures, but I'd imagine people will be squatting in their homes because there's not enough, who's gonna boot you out? Nobody. I mean, there's not enough law enforcement to actually come house to house to get people to move out. And on top of that, because there'll be so many houses vacant, the banks and all the people who own those things, I'm sure, won't just they'll let you stay because they don't want the vacant properties, because what's going to happen when it's vacant? It's going to be vandalized. Patrick James, sorry I'm late. You made up for it, my friend. I appreciate that friendly contribution to the RTD channel. Thank you for that. Welcome, my friend. It says the book of How an Economy Grows and Why It Crashes is a good book by Peter Schiff. I have not read it, and I do believe it is good, a good book. Definitely a big fan of Peter Schiff. He keeps it straight. I think he's, a lot of people in the business sector. He has a product, he has services that he wants to promote, so he angles everything he says to and through his products, to where I don't believe his viewpoints on the cryptocurrency sector directly, but I can see his point, given the fact he's a sound money guy and you don't really understand the technology behind and the disruptive nature that's already in play with that sector. So he can speak against cryptocurrency all he wants, but it's already been officially declared a financial asset class. Now, whether he chooses to participate, that's another thing, but to go around bashing something that he's not involved in, or he could be, or not fully educated on what it can do and what it will do, I think is wrong on his part. It says 11/11 is a speculative date, just like 10/10/10. 11/11. Hedgehog. Says if the elites are accumulating Bitcoin, etc., do you foresee them pumping the price so high and so fast that retail investors will only be able to purchase fractions of a certain crypto? Edward, yes, I do that. I believe that 100%, because this is the thing that lets me know that this new asset class I'm referring to isn't going anywhere, is because there are more and more major moves happening behind the scenes that's now hitting the alternative media news as well as some of the mainstream media news, but the price isn't moving. So the question would be, how are they able to maintain the price at 6,300 for Bitcoin, the predominant coin, without it making real major moves? And a lot of people say it's because of the OTC trading, over-the-counter trading, to where they're actually acquiring coins directly, or more importantly, they're helping build the infrastructure that will be the foundation to it becoming a truly mainstream service opportunity for everybody. And then you have all of the financial institutions, the banking sector, that are currently right now working on products for you to include into your portfolio, as you know, through them, as well as all of the other investment opportunities that's going to come about that's being done right now. So if you watch some of the, like the crypto trader on CNBC out of South Africa, he interviews a lot of people who are billions, 6-9 figure type of individuals that are in this space talking about things they have ready and waiting. It's just, they're waiting on that first, large, funds to be dumped in, then they go come. So it's more so like, okay, who's gonna be the first one to pump in $500 billion? Who's gonna be the first one to allocate, 5% of the California retirement pension fund into that backed program? You know what I'm saying? Like, so once that first one come, the confidence will be there, and then more people will come, and then lights out. So that's just my 2 cents. It says no Mike Peter Schiff is gold money right. Gold joining gold money right. Is Schiff gold? Yeah, so gold money basically either acquired or bought shares into Peter Schiff's gold program, to where now he sits in ownership with James Turk and Roy, whoever, the other gentleman, his co-CEO guy. So they actually are buddies now. Peter Schiff, buddies with him now, because he's been bought out by them. So he's sitting comfortably no matter what, and he still kind of runs Gold Shift, but he does it in cooperation with Gold Money. So, he got a nice little payday. It says Dr. Shun has some good info. Chuck, referring to my last conversation with Dr. And also, I spoke to Dr. was it last week, so he's going to be joining me again. He got an interesting project going on right now, so he's going to be joining me in a couple of weeks. And so it's going to be a great chat as always, because if you watch any of old Dr. interviews, he gets he gets live. In that one interview, last interview, live stream, he was getting so amped up, he was choking. I'm like, dude, just calm down, go and get you a swig of water. Let's just, because he's choking and coughing, he was getting amped up. I'm like, man, I like the passion, but I want you to take care of yourself, because he's like 70-something years old. He said, what can you get with a gram of gold in Venezuela? Ooh, nice topic there. Okay, I like that conversation topic right there. Let's try to find out. I wish I could, because in Venezuela, they don't, not that I'm aware of, they don't have any major food chains or any major retail stores that have an online presence where you can go online and find out what the actual price is of items and compare it to, in exchange to dollars. But you can in Argentina. And so I was actually going to do a video a while back where you could see the difference in prices. And I can actually tell you guys what that looks like. So let's see, I'm trying to think. Gold price. Okay, let me look this up. Because there's actually a website that, okay, so here's a website here, Gold Broker. So this is, I forgot who runs this, but this is a pretty decent site. And what else here? So here it talks about, gold price today in Venezuela. And so this is as of today. So take this information here as for what it's worth. I don't know how they get the information other than just their calculations or whatever. But if you select the currency, VEF, that is the new symbol for their new sovereign bolivar there, I believe. And so here it talks about the actual price in reference to the paper. And so, mind you, they just had a redenomination of their currency. So I did videos before, and I actually pulled up, I can actually pull it up since we own here. Well, actually, I can pull it up, but I'll do it in a second. But it gives you the actual prices of their, actually gives the actual prices of their exchange rates for the old currency in relation to the new currency by dropping 5 zeros. So a $50 million price tag is now $500. or something like that. 5,000, 500 peso, 500 VEFs, or whatever. Okay, so here's the price as of November 6th, which is in a couple hours. So I'm assuming they're ahead wherever they're at. So it says for 1 gram is 9.8 million bolivars is the actual price for 1 gram of gold. So 1 ounce, 31.18, is 305 million bolivars. So keep that number in mind, 9.8 million. Now let's go to I'm gonna go to a site that helps us recalculate the denominations of their currency so we can get a better understanding of what it looks like nominally and see if it lines up. Okay, so here, if you go to the Central Bank of Venezuela, their Twitter page, they do a good job. So here's this graph right here. If you can see it, there's one on my shoulder right here. That colorful graph is their chart on how to reassess or revalue the old currency, the hyperinflated currency, to the more so-called reasonable note. So if you guys remember what I said, as of today, 9.8 million bolivars in the old currency, the one that's, you see barrels of, if you see somebody walking through with a barrel or a book bag worth of notes, that's roughly that 9.8 million. And so if you take that 9.8 million and you take it to the central bank, which you still have time, and you take that, so that's roughly like right here. So if you take 9.8, that's closer to this 10. So just say 10 million bolivars. That's rough. That will get you roughly 100 of their new sovereign bolivar. So to give you an idea what that is, looks like it's the equivalent of, say, right now you can get a single gram. Hence, you can get this single gram here from SD Bullion for a little bit around $50. And you go here,